Morning, Brian.
Good morning. Welcome.
Happy post Super Bowl to you.
You as well. The big game. What'd you think?
I had a hard time caring about either one of those teams last night, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
The game wasn't very good until the end, but always a fun time.
I went for the ads. I stayed for the ads. I took my breaks during the game.
I
True story.
think a lot of people were in that bucket.
Yeah. Well, this is our special post Super Bowl ad review special. So let's get going.
Yeah, let's do it. I was just fascinated by the amount of money these brands are spending, just even getting the game.
Yeah. The amount of money spending to get in the game and also just the sheer revenue that's generated around the game is astounding to me. Last year, it was $600 million in ad sales went to Fox. This year, CBS is likely to get that as well. And that doesn't include all the other stuff that goes around, just the ad sales. There's so much more than that,
Yeah, it's a juggernaut to say the least.
to say the least. I saw a stat that Super Bowl spending nationwide for food, drinks, and decorations
Yeah.
was $16.5 billion last year.
Oh my
It's
God.
amazing.
We'll wait for the first $1 trillion Super Bowl impact. It's coming soon.
Yeah, and there's gambling around it, the what gets spent locally on hospitality for the host city, ticket sales. I mean, just drop in the bucket, but last year that was $66 million went to the NFL just on ticket sales for the game. And that's probably the smallest piece of money around this whole thing.
I know the amount of money and being in Vegas, just like, with everything being supersized, it just
Oh,
keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what do you think about the amount of money spent on the halftime show?
ooh. Well, I don't know what it costs to produce. I haven't seen that figure. I was curious to see how much Apple pays to do it. $50 million a year for 5 years just to host that thing, which
Wow.
I, I mean, how many music subscriptions do you have to make that worthwhile?
Even the non-football fans, they rush to the TV during that part. So
Yes,
are they getting their money's worth? Probably. If you get that many eyeballs at one time, it's probably worth it, but it's a lot of money.
it is a lot of money. And you're right. People do come back. But if they didn't come back beforehand, they didn't see the big Apple branding coming in. They probably saw it coming out. But I think did Usher really reinforce the Apple Music brand in his performance anyway? I didn't notice. Maybe he did.
There's probably some better integration of that Apple could do.
Hmm.
And maybe they do some things with like playlists or syncing some things up. But if you're gonna, what it's about 12 minutes long or something, that's about 24 commercials or
Good
a lot
point.
of,
Good point. So it's a bargain then, you're saying
yeah.
24 times the $7 million per spot this year. Yeah, they saved money. Half
Yeah,
price. Basically half price for the halftime show.
nice. Well, John, I got a stat for you.
Hit
Uh,
me.
so on the regular ad, the 30-second ad,
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot been reported on, $7 million for a 30-second spot. That's $233,000 a second. Oh, gotta get it right.
For non-football fans who tune in and ask the question, wow, what societal problems could be solved for all this money? Don't think about $233,000 per second. Okay, so as expensive as it was to run a spot this year at $7 million per 30 seconds, 30 seconds back in 1966 for Super Bowl one cost advertisers about $42,500. So bargain.
Yeah, I saw that. In today's money, it's only $372,000.
Wow, what a steal.
Yeah. So, John, what was the first Super Bowl to go over $1 million a spot?
Ooh, boy, I kind of think I remember when it happened, but I don't know when that was. 90? 1990.
95.
Ooh, okay, took a while.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a quiz for you back to
Yeah.
Super Bowl one.
Okay.
Think you can name, I'll make it attainable here. Two advertisers.
Oh my
Two
gosh.
advertisers who showed up in Super Bowl one. When you got? What's your guess?
General Electric,
Good guess. No.
Ford.
Yes.
Really
Yep.
interesting. And I'm gonna throw one more out there. What about can we say Coke? Is there like a beverage
Ooh,
brand that? What,
it
what
would, there is a beverage brand. I don't think Coke. Budweiser. So anyway, this is not super comprehensive because there's apparently one remaining copy of the broadcast of Super Bowl one in an individual's possession. NFL doesn't own it, but academics have reported that Ford, Chrysler, RCA, RJ Reynolds Tobacco, remember that, McDonald's, Budweiser, and Goodyear were all in Super Bowl one. I don't know if the ones you guessed weren't, but those were definitively, they are sourced as yes, they were in it. Most of them were sexist as hell. I watched the Goodyear
Yeah.
spot. It's amazing.
I wonder if there's a Joe DiMaggio coffee spot.
Uh, exactly. So anyway, you were about to tell me more about the inflation costs, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I'm interested in seeing is when will be the first $10 million spot Super Bowl? And,
Ooh.
if we're going off of this trajectory, in 95, we went over $1 million, $3 million in 2010,
Mhm.
$5 million in 2021. I think by 2030, we're probably going to see a $10 million spot Super Bowl.
I
So,
think you're right, especially since it continues to be the only home for live TV viewership. They're the biggest draw for that these days. I looked at the year by year pricing, which is why I kind of knew roughly when it went to a million. It was flat this year, but did you know that there have only been 4 years where the price went down?
really?
Yeah. And when I say down, I mean like, from 5.6 million to 5.5 million. So like
Yeah.
1% decrease, 2% decrease. Yeah. 1984, 1996, 2007, 2021. All those years, the price
Wow.
for 30 went down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Handful of years were flat, including this year, but generally it goes up, 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 up.
That's only part of the story, though. I mean,
Uh-huh.
so much more that goes behind an ad than just buying the ad.
Yes, which I think people would be shocked to know how much it costs to produce some of these things.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of those things that go into actually, putting the ad together.
Yeah, I did some digging. It's hard to find production costs, actual average production costs for a 30-second commercial nationally, but you can assume it's got to be pushing up on $1 million average. And that's not necessarily just a Super Bowl commercial. That's just, average national TV commercial, probably pushing $1 million by the time you pay for shooting, editing, talent, all that stuff. But Super Bowl special, right? Because you've got all these celebrities showing up.
Yeah, you got to put a stamp on it.
And I think you were keeping track during the game of just how many celebrities were popping up. I think I knew probably, I don't know, half of them I didn't even recognize.
There's the celebrities that right immediately. There's the celebrities that kind of are like retro celebrities. Then there's these adjacent celebrities, and
Hmm.
uh, so there's a fascinating melting pot of
Yeah,
celebrities in these ads, and part of it probably is like, who can I get my hands on?
yeah, yeah.
So, but there's those celebrities make some nice money on those commercials, that's for sure.
Yeah. So last year, Ben Affleck got paid almost $10 million to do the Dunkin' Donuts ad. Now that's a little skewed because that included him and his production company actually was behind creating the spot. So
Really?
yeah. Yeah. So he and Matt Damon have a production company together. And so that $10 million fee kind of covered some of that too. So it's a little blurry, but bigger stars generally are getting $1 to $3 million, I read, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, and the celebrities have a lot of fun with getting in these ads, which is great, but that's not such a bad paycheck either.
No. And then there's the music, which again, kind of hard to know exactly how much that costs, but back in 2019 for the Super Bowl, basically you're looking at $100,000 to license a lesser known song with kind of limited usage rights up to three-quarters of a million, $750,000 for what you would consider to be more of an iconic song with a longer usage term. So you add that in, you add in the celebrity talent, you add the production, and then agency fees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally speaking, unless you're running an in-house shop, which still has costs associated, you've got agency fees that probably run you, God, at least $500,000 by the time you spend all the time to produce a spot.
I mean, the menu of all these fees and how you can kind of bundle some of them, like that, like you said with Affleck and the production company,
Hmm.
or some of the agencies you're already paying a retainer for, but sometimes you need to bring in more power and more time.
Yeah.
There is a trend of people doing these spots in house,
Yeah.
um, without an agency. Sometimes that shows, sometimes it doesn't, but that's a different approach. But I think at the end of the day, if you're spending $7 million for the ad itself, and you're doing something that defines yourself, you also want to make sure that you're not just zeroing in too much on yourself, you kind of really lose subjectivity and objectivity to it. So there's a lot that definitely goes into it.
A huge amount that goes into it. When you consider the fact that, all those extra fees to create the spot on top of running the spot, you're probably looking at 7 million times two, right? Just to do the 30. And don't forget, a lot of those spots are 60s.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about the trend of people releasing their spots before the Super Bowl?
Oh, I love it. I like seeing them ahead of time.
I hate it. I hate it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I want to be surprised. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. If you're gonna spend all that money and then it's gonna leak, I mean, it would be like releasing an album before there's build up to the day you release it. And when you
Okay.
get everybody in front of the TV and you get people surprised, but
Mhm.
when I've seen it 5 days before, by the time I see it during the Super Bowl, like I could care less.
All right, cranky pants. What about the idea of a teaser, where they do something that kind of like sets it up but doesn't actually reveal the spot? How about
Yeah,
that?
that's
You're
good.
you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot that goes into the atmosphere you're watching it in too. Like, are you watching it in small
True.
settings, watching it in bigger settings, where the spot actually comes in during the game. To me, I
Yeah.
love the spots that are like right at the beginning of the game, and then there's a
Hmm.
couple near the end if it's a close game where those really pay off. It's you could really get, if it's a blowout, nobody's watching in the third or fourth quarter. But last night, I feel like more people started tuning in, and some of the later ones had some more effectiveness.
I will say, in terms of the whole releasing spots in advance, maybe that's just me because I like nerding out on them. Because I'm the guy who created a bingo game for the 2017 Super Bowl, where I had a party and everyone got a bingo card with clues about spots. And, as they revealed themselves, you filled in your squares. I made it a game of it. So I had people pretty tuned into the spots that year.
Yeah, John, you're not like everybody else.
That's fair. Fair enough. All right. Well, hey, listen, you and I agreed to do some evaluating of the spots this year. You want to get into
Yeah,
that?
let's go.
Let's do it.
All
All
right.
right. What's first?
What do you think was the best spot? What was most entertaining, the funniest?
Most entertaining, funniest. I'm struggling to answer that one. The Dunkings one with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon was pretty funny, but I had some execution issues with that one. I'm gonna go with the BMW talking like walking, and maybe this is where you don't watch too much of it in advance. I think on the second reviewing, I found it fun and funny. I don't think it delivered on the electric car message at all, nor am I sure that BMW needs to convey the message that it's the real deal, but it was a blast watching people imitate Christopher Walken in front of Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. I
No.
love the Christopher Walken voice. I just thought it didn't connect to BMW at all, and this is kind of gimmicky.
Yeah. All right. So what was your
Yeah.
most entertaining, funniest?
I love the Duncan one too. I was watching it again this morning, and every time I watch it, I feel like the execution it got better every time I watched it. But my favorite one was the Michael Sarah V commercial.
Oh,
I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it was just hilarious. It was just
it
funny.
was pretty
And
funny.
and if you don't remember it, it was the actor Michael Sarah saying that the product CeraVe, a moisturizer or moisturizing cream product, was his idea, and he was behind it. And I just thought that
That
was
was pretty good. Yeah.
he played it so well, and just like the way that he kind of made fun of himself in it, like I just thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
What do you think was the most effective ad in your mind in
I
terms
thought the
of
most
kind of, establishing kind of a brand perception or maybe moving some product? What'd you think?
I thought the most effective one was the Volkswagen ad.
Mhm.
That really hit home to me. That brand's had some trouble with some scandals, and they hadn't done a Super Bowl ad in 12 years.
Oh, really? 12 years. No kidding.
Yeah, and they had a Neil Diamond track on there, which was kind of interesting. But it just that to me is like a product that they really resonated with people. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. We when I was a kid, we used to have Volkswagen bugs, so
Yeah.
but I just thought it was very well done and nostalgic. Now, are people going to go out and run out and buy a Volkswagen? I don't know, but I feel like they brought themselves a little bit back to prominence with that. What about you?
For most effective, I think that sometimes I'm a sucker for good old fashioned product demo. I thought that Google Pixel um,
Oh,
with the blind guy who was able to take pictures of himself
yeah.
and then his wife or significant other and then their baby. I thought that was really effective in terms of, pull at the heartstrings, really humanized a piece of technology, and it just was really good product demo.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good. What about most gratuitous use of celebrity?
Okay, most gratuitous use. A little bit of a toss up for me, but I'm going to go with T-Mobile Magenta Status, which was just a parade of celebrities and semi-celebrities for no real purpose that I could discern.
Yeah, I hated that one too.
Hated it.
Yeah, it was just dumb. And like some of the celebrities, I just like, why do they like Common? Like who wants to see Common? Like
And
I just,
what a waste of paying Bradley Cooper. What are you doing?
ugh.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done something so much better if they have him and his mom. I
Yeah.
just feel like just whatever. But I'm gonna go with Tom Brady. I thought he was pretty good in both ads, but it's getting a little ridiculous. And I'm
Oh.
surprised one of those brands, Dunkin' or BetMGM, couldn't sign him up to some exclusivity.
Hmm.
I feel like you lose some of your mustard if you water it down with
Good point.
they show up in multiple
Yes.
commercials.
Yeah.
And Usher showed up in multiple commercials, which was like enough Usher, but at least
Yeah.
he's part of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't lock up exclusivity if you're spending that much money.
Well, because you have to spend that much more money to lock up exclusivity.
What's money at that point, John?
Yeah, at that point, exactly. Throw another $2 million at Tom. What the hell? I thought it was a very effective use of celebrity in the BetMGM because I just think he good direct tie to the idea of winning.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who Tom is, and everyone was tired of watching him win, unless you're a Patriots fan, in which case, screw you.
I mean, the Duncan commercial was extremely gratuitous with celebrities, and
Yes.
but I'm telling you, every time I watch it, I think it's funnier. And Matt Damon playing off of his Good Will Hunting line of "How about them apples?" Is saying how,
That was great. That was a great line.
and he was just shaking his head.
Yeah.
That was a good
Yeah.
commercial. And did you know Duncan is actually selling the those jackets today?
Of course they are. Genius.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. What was your biggest disappointment slash worst ad? Which one?
Well, there's a lot of bad ads. I thought from like Timu to Bass
Oh,
Pro, the Skechers. Like I don't need to see Mr. T anymore. Nobody even
oof.
knows who that guy is anymore.
It's amazing.
That could have been a commercial they did 25 years ago. But I'm going to go with Microsoft Copilot. I feel like they had the ability to do something like the Google Pixel commercial that you talked about, where you're taking a concept like AI and showing all the great things that could have been done, and they just like buried it. And the first half of the commercial was a build up, and I just feel like it didn't pay off. And not that I would expect Microsoft to be able to pull off an ad like that. But it just to me, I was just disappointed because that's the biggest thing people should be talking about. Is there AI capabilities? And I feel like they just didn't present it the right way.
Interesting. I think for me, the biggest disappointment was the FanDuel kick of destiny, the reaction spot. So, Gronkowski missed the kick before the game. That was a bad spot too. But given their advertising budget, like across the year, and the experience they had last year with getting flamed for the way they executed the kick last year, I would have thought they'd step up to a different level, especially given that it was Wyden and Kennedy was the ad agency,
Yeah.
which is just an iconic shop doing amazing work for years and years and years for Nike and other brands. I feel like lesson not learned and just not a great production, not a good idea. It just there was nothing to it there other than maybe a nice little tip of the cap to Carl Weathers, who passed away last week. I thought that was a big letdown, that spot.
Yeah. The maybe the third time will be the charm next year. They certainly haven't gotten it right.
Yeah.
What a wrinkle, though, with Carl Weathers dying after they filmed the
Yeah.
commercial. Like you said, they handled it well, but it's just not that concept is just not working for them. They can't get it right.
This was a hard one for me. This category, I had the longest list of nominees for this one. That Kennedy candidacy spot was horrific and weird
Weird.
as hell.
Yeah.
I thought the homes.com, the money they spent to have all those spots, and I thought they were just noisy and frenetic and bad.
Yeah.
And how do you have Martin Scorsese in a spot for Squarespace and then not have the spot communicate the message of the value proposition? Just bizarro to me.
That was a terrible ad.
Yeah. Yeah. Great lead up, great teaser, terrible ad.
I thought I was going to hate the Pluto TV couch potato ad, but
Yeah.
growing on me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a market for free television with all the paid tiers out there. I'm surprised that they can afford a Super Bowl spot, but Interesting concept, the couch potato, but it's winning me over.
Okay.
All right. So what about best call to action? So when we say best call to action,
Oof.
what's the ad that makes you want to go look up the brand, take an action next? What do you think is the best example of that in an ad? And famously, last year there was the
Oh
QR
yeah. The
commercial from
bouncing QR code. Yeah.
yeah.
Entertainment is kind of the priority. Brand attribution is a real issue with so many Super Bowl spots, right? I loved it. It was funny. It was great. It was entertaining. It was impactful. And then, like, what was it for? I don't know. I don't know. It's a really common consumer reaction.
Yeah, but I got one for this year.
All right. What do you got?
DoorDash. So if you don't remember the DoorDash one, they had a code to go to a website,
Yeah.
a promo code to. They have a collection of things where they're running this campaign.
The sweepstake. Get you where you win everything that was advertised in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, which is an interesting concept. I thought that they kind of screwed it up by making it really difficult to enter the contest because the code was so long on purpose. Interesting concept to kind of bundle as many ad brands as possible and try to
Yeah.
sweepstakes them off. That made me go to the site, but as soon as I got there, I was trying to watch the game. I couldn't sit there and put in a code I couldn't remember.
I feel like Uber Eats missed a really big opportunity with this, right? Because this was out there before the game that they were going to be giving away everything that was advertised in the game. If I was Uber Eats, I would have created a commercial for DoorDash saying, "We're giving away 100% ownership in DoorDash." And then DoorDash
That's
would have,
with the commercials coming out so early. Why aren't other brands trying to hop on the opportunity? If you have a couple days,
ooh.
you know, why don't you do something like that?
Well, by the time we get to the $10 million per
$10
spot
million
threshold,
ads.
maybe people will figure that out.
Exactly.
All right, so I owe you best call to action.
Yeah.
You're not going to like my answer. Well, first of all, I recall very few that had an actual call to action.
True.
And I know you didn't love the Microsoft commercial.
Yeah, I hate it.
However, and this is not because the commercial did a good job of it, but the reveal of the Copilot app was like an app to let you have a single input for all the different AI tools, both text and image generation.
Yeah.
Feels like a little bit of a game changer to me. I downloaded the app.
Oh, look at you.
Right. And I took no other actions from any Super Bowl ad. So I don't know. I guess I have to say that. Put my money where my mouth is.
All right. All right. I'll give it to you. The guy that creates the Super Bowl bingo game at his party.
Hey, shut up.
But
That was long.
all right. What about Rookie of the Year? Which brand that has never advertised for a Super Bowl left the biggest mark for you?
I thought Etsy did a really nice job. I love their concept. I think the Statue of Liberty sailing across the bay, like,
Yeah.
what are we going to send France? It's really
That
funny.
was funny. That was
Love
funny.
the concept. I think placing a Super Bowl ad seems really incongruous with the product offering that Etsy has of like kind of local handmade craft stuff. That's kind of like their brand essence.
Yeah.
Seems again incongruous, but I thought that the actual spot was really effective
Yeah.
and funny.
I'm gonna go with Poppy. The soda.
Good one. Yeah.
I really like that commercial. I think that talking about the evolution of soda and this not being, your kids or grandkids' soda is a really effective message at a time when Coke and Pepsi proper are not advertising for the games. I just felt like the message of Poppy, it's a cleaner soda. It's different. This is the last time you're gonna
Yeah.
about sugar water basically. It was really interesting, and I'm not really that familiar with the brand, and it just kind of left a mark for me. So
No, you're right. That was good. That was very effective, I thought.
yeah. All right, last one. Best music.
Oh, best music. I don't know about best music. I'll say best use of music for me was Dove using Hard Knock Life.
That was
Um,
a great ad.
yeah, it was a really good ad. Maybe the best one if I think about it, but most impactful to me. But the song itself was it was kind of arresting. Felt a little bit out of sync with the rest of the music that was happening all around the game. Really nicely tied to the concept, the whole idea of vulnerability plus strength. Everyone knows that song. You can hear the lyrics. Got really effective.
Yeah. I thought that Beyonce in the Verizon ad was a
Mm,
especially with Tony Hale. Um, Perfect duo there. And she was nodding to new music that she was releasing, which she ended up doing last night. But I'm gonna go with one that I'll be severely judged for, which I just thought it was funny was the Creed in the Paramount Plus commercial where
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, why is that there?
And this was the one that was released like a week ago. I feel like just it was released so long ago that I've seen it a million times now. And Paramount's been doing these commercials during the Super Bowl where they have all their characters from all the different types of content they have. And so the Creed pop in was just even put that whole concept over the top
It
and
was over the top. Yes.
ridiculous. So I thought it was perfect.
All right. All right. Well, those are all of our categories, right?
Yeah, yeah. But overall, I think it was an interesting game. For the commercials, I feel like some of them made some big plays and some of them were washouts. But we didn't talk about the State Farm with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the
Yeah.
Choppa.
Joppa.
But I think it left people talking. So
Yeah. Well,
good stuff.
that's one thing the Super Bowl always does is gets people talking before and after about advertising. And that's not something that happens really any other time of the year, I don't think.
Yeah, not like that. Not
Yeah.
when not on a day where you finally have everybody watching at the same time. So
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good opportunity for us to tease our next guest, a fantastic guest who was right on the edge of hopelessly unattainable in my mind. Someone who is responsible for more commercials in this year's Super Bowl than any other agency.
ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. So come on back next time.
All right. All right, let's shut down.
All right. See you,
All right.
Brian.
See ya
Happy viewing.
later.